for me to be able to balance out something as new as that, I have to pay homage to the old. And our commentary team, as I was saying before, said something at the on the Hope and Glory DVD about do you think the members of the Resistance are just members of the Resistance because they don't think they can make it in America? Okay, that's what Quick Lambert said. And Dave Bradshaw said, why should it be the be-all and end-all to make it to America when our industry used to grind traffic to a halt on a Saturday night? We outdrew the FA Cup final. The royal family used to come and watch us wrestle. We've run Wembley Arena before any American company, and we sold it out as British Wrestling. And there were people that made that happen. Those people have not got a Hall of Fame. They're not going to appear in the WWE's Hall of Fame because, to be quite frank, Vince McMahon decides exactly who goes in there, and he doesn't even let some people go in there who are legitimate American legends who he's fallen out with. So why does he give a shit, pardon my French, if a British guy who legitimately helped build this empire is not recognised? In fact, it's in his best interest to not bring attention to the British legends, because then that helps him act like there was no British industry before he came and trampled all over it. So it's down to us as an industry to actually bring forward these legends, put them on the stage that they deserve to be on, and have the industry past and present and future look at these guys and say, man, thanks for your contribution. And in turn, what an honour it is for us for them to be able to watch what we're doing now. I'm sure some of them will disagree with what we're doing, but hey, it's debate. I don't ever do anything. I'm interested in nothing that doesn't create debate. Like, somebody says to me, Alex, we're going to do this lovely little event. It's going to be wonderful. We're all going to sit. Everyone's going to enjoy it. And everyone will think exactly the same thing. I don't want that. I don't want a world where everyone thinks the same thing. Otherwise, I'd tap into the world that I'm in now. I'd be part of this society. If everybody thought the same thing with the illusion of choice, I'd work in a bank. I'd work doing something else. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring these worlds together, the old school, who really love, many of them don't like the FWA and the FWA, and we're going to put them under one roof and we'll have ourselves a big old fight. No, I'm joking. No, we're actually going to do what wrestling's meant to do, which is create organised civil conflict that is a great show. That's what wrestling is, and that's what the Hall of Fame will be. We've spoken to several big names in the American scene about coming and being involved and inducting some of the British legends. And we've also spoken to one very big name in entertainment about being the host for that show. Somebody else for an event they were doing had spoken to this guy. It's a big name. If I told it to you, he's got his own TV show and stuff. And but he was interested in hosting it. That was before it was a Hall of Fame. It was just a British Wrestling Awards. So now this should be quite a big thing. So we're hoping it's going to be a big deal. We're going to televise. We're going to film it. It could end up being televised. We've spoken to a couple of production companies, and it's ticking one of the FWA's public principle boxes. So I think it is the most important day between what we're putting on with the Adrenalin matches, between us putting on the new FWA in the Birmingham NEC, and then producing the Hall of Fame Awards. It's the most important day. I did the sellout tour for TNA, and at the time, that was a big deal. But to me, this is the most important day in my life because, we're laying it on the table and saying this is what we are going to be, the future, XWA Adrenalin. This is the present, FWA, and this is what we're doing to honour the past. And if we can tick all those boxes, if the world that we live in right now tick those boxes and made sure that the younger generation were looked after, the current people were happy, and the older people were taken care of, we probably wouldn't be in the mess that we're in right now, quite frankly. So, if you can't, so we'll try it with pro wrestling. If it works, it'll be a social experiment, and it should be a really fun day.
Well, Alex, that sounds amazing. How can the fans get involved? What are the prices of tickets, and where can you purchase them?
Well, the original, when we first announced this event, the original plan was to do it so that the show was free and the audience can make donations to the charitable trust fund for the injured and retired wrestlers. We don't want to lose that part of the show. That's really why I wanted to do this. Of course, because of the anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's, the 5th anniversary of his death being on the 13th, which we'll discuss in a second because we're still doing something on that day. However, the guys running memorabilia, you don't get the Birmingham NEC for free. It costs them a lot of money, and they don't want to be in a situation where the fans are turning up saying, oh, no, I wasn't coming to memorabilia. I was coming for the wrestling. Let me in for free. And then, so obviously we needed to find a way to do that. So it's £10 to get into the memorabilia, as it always is. But the actual event, the actual Uprising event is free. There are only limited seats. The rest will be standing. We want it to look really impressive and like we thought it did at Expo. And that was without seats. So there'll be seats, then a standing area. So those seats will be on a first come, first served basis. We're going to put information about how to get those seats up on the FWA site. So keep watching Frontline on the FWA YouTube channel every Thursday. Keep going to FWAUK.com, and the Grapple Group YouTube channel will have updates like this all the time. So just sort of bump yourselves between those different sites, and you'll get as much information when it comes out. On the 13th of November, the 5-year anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's death, we are doing something on that day. We wanted to do something to honour Eddie and the spirit of Eddie and what he did for British wrestling. Let's not forget that Doug Williams obviously wrestled Eddie Guerrero at the Revival event, and he really, not only did he put Doug over, so to speak, but he really put over the British style of wrestling, and exactly he showed me, I believe, what it's like to have real passion for pro wrestling. I've been at shows recently where I'm walking around talking like a madman. I'm all in the zone, a bit like this, all fired up. And the younger guys in their early 20s are looking at me thinking, man, he's got to be on something, because you don't get that excited about wrestling. And I remember being with Eddie and thinking, man, he's supposed to be like off drugs and stuff now, but the guy's just, you don't get that fired up in the zone unless you're on them. And I now understand that you can. It is possible to be natural and to be excited about something. So what Eddie did was Eddie put Doug over. Doug then got the British style of wrestling over, and that helped our boom period. So Eddie is as much a part of the British wrestling revival as anybody. Don't ever forget that. So I believe that on that day, which is also the 5-year anniversary of the day the WWE got involved, shall we say, with my Universal Uproar event. Allegedly. So we want to remember that date for 2 reasons. So what we're going to do is we're hiring a sports bar either in central London or Coventry, where the Uproar event was. We'll confirm that hopefully next week. And all throughout the day, we're going to be playing Eddie matches. We're going to be doing like promo contests for fans, computer game contests, like video game contests, and it'll just be a get together of the fans, the trainees, the actual wrestlers themselves. Anyone's welcome. It's free to get in. We're going to contact Vicky Guerrero. Keeps popping up in the top right hand corner of my Facebook, saying suggest as a friend. So I'm assuming that that's the universe telling me get in contact with Vicky and say and basically see if we can take donations and put those donations towards her kids. That's what we'd like to do. But regardless, we want to do this day to remember Eddie, and then we want to end with how I think Eddie would probably have wanted it to end, is with a big party in memory of what his contribution, and not just his contribution, but the contribution of all these people that have given so much to professional wrestling. Let's not forget the trust fund is what Uprising's about. It's to launch this on a proper level, and it's to have a day every year where we remember those people who have died for pro wrestling. You know, it is fun and games, and it is action and adventure, and it is stunts, and it is spectacle, but these are real people. You know, like I always think to myself how, you know, when you pick up a newspaper and you read these horrific stories of these heroes that have, you know, lost a leg in Afghanistan, or you hear some of this stuff, these tragic stories, and they're tragic, but then you can just shut the newspaper and then you move on to the next story because you don't know these people. Well, I know these people, I've met these people, and you've got to put yourself in the position of, if this was, you know, if your mother or your father or one of these people was a pro wrestler that so many people claim to love, and as soon as they make the ultimate sacrifice for this industry and the fans, these people who claim to love your family member suddenly forget all about them and forget about you and forget about the tatters of a life that they've left behind. I believe that if we're taking this entertainment from them and we're taking their blood and their tears and their sweat, then the least we can do as fans is to honour them and actually help their families, you know, like, you know, and if the and we as fans have to do it, because the industry leaders proven that they don't want to, you know, they don't want to. They've got billions of dollars. They are in the position to do that, and they don't want to. So we have to do that. It's not a knock on them, you know, because at the end of the day, they've got to answer to their shareholders now. They have to answer their shareholders. It's not down to just one person. We don't have to answer to our shareholders, because we are, as individuals, our own shareholders of our own corporation, and that's the corporation of pro wrestling without restrictions. So on the 13th, that's what's going to happen, and then on the 20th, a week later, we go into the Birmingham NEC for the most important day of our 11-year history, and I think it's going to be a whole month, but particularly a couple of days that no British wrestling fans, in fact no wrestling fans full stop, will want to miss.
Okay, well, it all sounds very exciting. You've raised a few important points that I think the fans will appreciate. Thank you for answering all of my questions. I've been Francesca Wood, reporting for Frontline.
This is the resistance, and we need your help.